Okay, so I'm going to show you how to use the ASOP system. ASOP is where you will log on to request time off while you're a teacher fellow at your assigned campus. It is also where you can secure coverage for your classes with a CSTN guest teacher. CSTN is the company that we use to provide substitutes. We only use that company, and this is how you will make the request. You should have gotten a login username and password from Jamie from CSTN. If you haven't yet, then just follow along on the demo, and hopefully this will help you the first time you need to make this request. So you'll come in, and yours will look a little different. This is administrative, but you will have a button to create an absence, and instead of selecting someone, yours should come up automatically to this page. So this is where if you need to take a day off for any reason, you are expected to enter your request in through the ASOP system, and the operations team at your assigned campus will review it and will either approve or deny the request and follow up with you appropriately. Different campuses have different expectations for using this, but for the most part, every campus requires that you put your requests in here first before you plan on taking a day off. So I would select the date that I need to take off, and let's say that I need to take 2 days off, the 20th and the 21st. Instead of making 2 separate requests, you can actually have your start date on the 20th and your end date can be on the 21st. So this would cover for both of these days. Your absence reason has to be filled out. This would be the reason why you're taking the day off, and for the most part you're going to select PTO. If you need to select one of these other reasons, you'll find out more about them at orientation, how many days they cover, when it's appropriate to request time for these reasons, and just how that impacts your PTO accruement. So I select PTO. And then the full day for the assigned campus that you're at will already be set for the time that they expect a guest teacher to arrive and report to your campus to the time that they can leave campus. So it's not necessarily the instructional hours of the campus, but basically the operating time of the campus. So you can either leave that the same, you can do a half day AM, half day PM, or you can also do a custom if you need to leave in a time or come late that is not outlined by one of those choices. Down here you can leave notes to the administrator. That would be for your administrator at your campus and the operations team. And so if you want to explain a little context of your PTO, you can do that here. You don't have to unless your campus notes otherwise. Notes to the substitute. Different campuses have different expectations for how you use this. Some campuses require that you put in your plans ahead of time to the substitute so that they can review before the day of the absence. That is up to your campus. Once you have everything filled out, you would just hit review and confirm, which I'm not going to do because I don't actually need PTO for these times. I also linked in my email to you about the training day these other 2 documents. There's a how to use ASOP video, which is probably pretty similar to what I'm showing you right now, and there's also an ASOP employee quick start guide that's more of a one-pager that explains the ins and outs. It also shows you how you can go back and track your different PTO requests and how you should be notified of your PTO requests approval or denials. Okay, the last part of my video is going to talk about some personal systems that I would recommend you think about or ask your instructional leader about, or also if you overlap with the teacher you're covering for, that you have these discussions. So talk a little bit about your calendar, copies and paperwork, and managing your to-dos. The first thing I recommend, let me make this bigger, is that you set up your calendar with the following items. Actually, I'll just keep it here. Your classes should be on your calendar. This is important because you don't want anything to overlap with your classes or for people to think that you're not in class when you actually are. Meetings with instructional leaders. You will most likely meet with your instructional leader at least once every other week, sometimes more often depending on the campus. PD or professional development, we do have professional development days every Wednesday. Campuses dismiss early. However, not every campus has PD every Wednesday, so you'll just have to pay attention to the communication that comes out from your campus team and see what applicable PDs you need to attend. Grade level meetings similarly happen usually on a campus on Wednesday afternoons, periodically. Duties, you are going to be covering any duty that your teacher who you're covering for had. So that could be a lunch duty, that could be a before school duty or an after school duty. You'll find out more about that from your campus team. Deadlines on your campus, deadlines that Charlie or I send you, or deadlines from the home office are important to keep on your calendar. Any other meetings that you have, either that's with me or Charlie or anyone else on your campus. The start and end dates for your campuses, I will also be including in the email. You should have seen the start and end dates that we have tentatively laid out for you for this year so far, and you should enter those into your calendar and update them as things change or adjust. Planning periods. Every teacher has at least one planning period every day, so that is important for you to use either with your instructional leader or doing things that you need to do to get ready for class or working with your planning partner. Coverage periods. Every teacher also has a coverage period every day. This is a coverage period when you may be expected to cover for a different class, and so your operations team will explain to you how you'll find out about that if that coverage comes up. Any special schedules, a lot of times we make special schedules on campuses to accommodate different programming or testing, and so paying really close attention to the communication that your campus sends out around those special days is important. And then campus or grade level events. If you're teaching 9th grade English 1 and the 9th grade is going on a field trip, it would be important for you to have that on your calendar so you know, I'm not teaching that day, that's not an instructional day for me, I'm going on this trip, whatever else you need to know. Some other calendar tips. I showed you my calendar. It is color-coded, and so that's just one style of managing your calendar, but it's easy for me to look at my calendar and see where I have meetings or where I have different work time, or see where things overlap and I need to fix it, or like my dad coming into town, so I need to do that just to help myself stay organized. Using the busy and free setting on your calendar. Sometimes if I put work time on my calendar, I will set it as busy if it's important for me to really focus on, or I might also set it as free or tentative if I'm working but I'm also available to other people. Just a little tip. Inviting other people to your meeting. If you and your planning partner agree on a time to meet and to talk about plans for your lessons, then you put that in your calendar. You want to make sure you invite that person so that they also attend. And then any reminders for yourself, daily reminders, recurring reminders are nice to have in there as well. Keeping papers organized. There are basically a lot of papers that you're going to have to organize as a teacher. And okay, so keeping track of papers. You should think through systems or talk to your teacher or your instructional leader to get some background about the different systems that they already use in the classroom to keep track of papers, to keep track of grades. The expectation at Yes Prep is that every instructor enters 2 grades per week, and finding a system to make sure that you can follow that policy is important. And making copies. Different campuses have different policies for copies. If there are limits to how much paper you can use, if there's limit to how many copies you can make, or there are some also may have like copier services for you. Keeping your tasks organized, finding a way to keep track of the planning that you need to do. Obviously, a large part of your job is planning, prepping for lessons, which Charlie is going to talk about quite a bit today. There he is, actually. Grading and other responsibilities. Finding a way to balance the responsibilities inside and outside of the classroom is really important to make sure that you can sustain this role over time. Okay, I want to talk really quickly just about who you can talk to about different situations. So if you have any questions about PTO or resources or materials on your campus, you want to talk to your campus operations team. If you need instructional support, you're going to talk to your Dean of Instruction. If you have any student discipline issues, you want to talk to your grade level chair or your Dean of Students. If you have a concern with your placement or you just want to talk through a situation, I'm the best person to talk to about that, and I'm available on the phone or via email or text, whatever works best for you. If you're just not sure, ask me. I can usually point you in the right direction. Okay, that's the end of demo number 3, and Charlie will answer any questions that you have at the training day. And thank you so much.